Okay, today we will study about the affinities of balanoglossus. We will study its affinity with affinities and differences with annelids, echinoderms, and chordates. So balanoglossus, it belongs to phylum Hemichordata. So this is the structure of balanoglossus. So as you can see, first of all, what the common name of balanoglossus is tongue worm or acorn worm. It belongs to phylum Hemichordata. And its body is divided into three main parts, that is the anterior proboscis, then back to anterior, behind anterior there is collar, and behind collar this elongated part is known as the trunk. So as you can see, it's worm kind of appearance. It is exclusively marine animal and it inhabits shallow coastal water and temperate oceans. It is found in temperate oceans all over the world. It is tuberculous and lives in the U-shaped burrows on the seafloor. Okay, so we will start with the affinities directly. So first of all, we will study its affinities with the phylum Annelida. As you can see, the similarities are, number one, like they both have vermiform and coelomate body. Both are same body shape. Then both are burrowing in nature. Then proboscis of balanoglossus is similar to prostomium of the annelids. Both are prioral structures. Then collar of balanoglossus is rather similar to the clitellum that is found in the oligochaetes, earthworm. The both ingest the mud and ingest the feces in the form of pellets. So these are the similarities that is found in hemichordate, particularly balanoglossus with the annelids. Both have similar arrangement of blood vessels and direction of blood flow is also same. And the larval stage that is found in balanoglossus life history is the Tornaria larva. It also has a remarkable similarity with the or resemblance with the trochophore larva found in the polychaetes in having eye spot, apical plate, sensory, apical cilia, ciliated bands, and some part of the alimentary canal. As you can see, you can compare both the diagrams from here. Okay, apart from these similarities, now next is what are the main differences that are found between annelids and balanoglossus or hemichordates. So the main differences are the gill slits are present and buccal diverticulum and pharyngeal gill slits are present in balanoglossus, but they are absent in annelids. Nerve cord is dorsal in balanoglossus and tubular, while it is ventral, double and solid in annelids. Okay, nephridia are found in annelids, but they are absent in hemichordates. And also difference in the larval stage. Tornaria larva of balanoglossus, it differs from the trochophore larva in what aspects? For example, in the presence of proboscis coelom, absence of nephridia, and being deuterostomous. That means the blastopore opening that forms the anus first and mouth is formed later. Trochophore larvae also have prioral coelom, presence of nephridia, and these are protostomous, and these hemichordata is actually deuterostomous, and annelids larva they show they are protostomous. Annelids are protostomous. So these are the main point of similarities and differences between the balanoglossus and the phylum Annelida. Next is, see, it's more, rather than explaining this topic, this is more kind of theoretical topic. There's nothing to explain, you need to learn all these points. Okay, so next is the affinities with echinoderm. So first we will the similarities of echinoderms, of balanoglossus with echinoderm, and differences of balanoglossus with echinoderm. So we will start with the similarities. So what are the main point of, okay, first is the coelom. Both have true coelom, first point, and similar origin of coelom is there in both. Okay, from phylum Echinoderm, enterocoelom starts, and enterocoelom is also observed in balanoglossus, that means hemichordata. So origin of coelom is same in both. Both are enterocoelous. Enterocoelous means the coelom, it is derived from the enteron, gut cavity, archenteron. And next is heart vesicles, they are also homologous in both. Then glomerulus of enteroneused, it is similar to that of echinoderm. Enteroneused is balanoglossus. Nervous system is also similar in the form of nerve plexus, ring is there, and both have similar kind of proteins and phosphorins phosphorgens are the form of these are the form of ATP reservoirs, and both they are found in the similar kind of ecological niches, like both are marine in nature and they have high power of autotomy, regeneration power. So larval resemblances are also there. So Tonaria larva of Hemichordate, it has a similarity with Bipinnaria larva of Asteroidea class. Okay, both are pelagic, oval, transparent. They have got ciliated bands. Both position of mouth is similar in both, and proboscis pore of proboscis coelom as compared with the water pore of hydrocoel of dipleural larva. So these are the points of similarities of adults and larval stages that are found in the phylum Echinodermata and Balanoglossus. So apart from similarities, but at the same time differences are also observed between the two. So what are the main points of difference? Okay, differences between the larval, first we will cover the larval stages differences. So Tonaria larva that has got apical plate is present, but here it is absent in Bipinnaria. In sensory hair is present, it is absent in Bipinnaria. Eye spots are present, that is absent. And this protocoel is single, it is paired in Bipinnaria larva. So on the basis of these dissimilarities, they show that the echinoderms and Balanoglossus, they are not homologous, or they do not share any common ancestry. Rather, it is an example of convergent evolution. That means on the basis of its habitat, they got the same kind of adaptations due to the similar kind of ecological niches they are presented, like both are marine, so they show similar kind of adaptations, but there is nothing homologous, they are not related ancestrally. Next, affinities of Balanoglossus with chordates. So till now we have covered the affinities, that means similarities and differences between Balanoglossus and Annelida, between Balanoglossus and Echinodermata. Now we are going to study affinities between Balanoglossus and chordates. So first we will cover the similarities. Like okay, we will start with the stomochord or buccal diverticulum that is present in Balanoglossus. It is very much similar, this buccal diverticulum of Balanoglossus. It is similar to notochord of the chordates, and they are dorsal in position. And okay, after this, gill slits, both bear the gill slits. That means gill slits are present in chordates as well as in Balanoglossus. And nerve cord is also present in both group or both phyla. Single, hollow and non-ganglionated nerve cord of ectodermal origin is present in Balanoglossus as well as in chordates. Coelom. Coelom is similar in origin, both are enterocoelous as I have already explained. And the structure and function of pharynx and branchial sac, they are similar in both groups. So these are the point of similarities between the Balanoglossus and chordate. Both bear buccal diverticulum, its counterpart is notochord in chordate. Both bear gill slits, both bear nerve cord, and both have coelom. Enterocoelom is there in both, and these pharynx and branchial sac, it is similar in both. So after this, the point of differences. So what are the main differences between the Hemichordata or Balanoglossus and with as compared to chordates? First of all, the notochord. So in Hemichordate, in Balanoglossus, the stomochord or notochord, it is hollow, short and confined only to the proboscis. Okay, so it is confined to the anterior part. So in the beginning slide, I showed you that Balanoglossus, its body is divisible into three main parts: proboscis, collar and trunk. So it is present only in the anterior part, proboscis part. But in chordates, this notochord, it extends from throughout the body. From it is like above the digestive tract and it runs throughout the body. Okay. Second point is nervous system. So nerve cord, it is dorsal in Hemichordate, but but it is confined only in the collar region, and here it extends throughout the body. Okay, it is present only in the collar, up to collar region. Gill slits, these are numerous and they are dorsal in position. Here only 5 to 7 pair lateral in position. Epidermis, it is ciliated and single layered. Epidermis is non-ciliated and stratified, means multi-layered in case of chordates. Okay, paired appendages, they are completely absent in case of hemichordates and they are present in chordates. Then blood and heart, heart is dorsal, here heart is ventral. Blood is colorless in Balanoglossus with no RBCs, and here it is colored. Gonads, they are numerous in Balanoglossus and only one pair in chordate, generally one pair in chordates. Blood flow, it is forward in dorsal vessel and backward in ventral. It is opposite in case of chordates flow. And cephalization, the cephalization is the formation of a distinct head. Metamerism, it is the division of the body into small segments. Tail, exoskeleton, and cloaca. All these features, they are absent in these hemichordata or Balanoglossus, but they are present in chordates. So, considering the phylogeny or the affinities that Balanoglossus bears with annelids and these echinoderms and chordates, it can be concluded that hemichordates bear a remarkable similarity with the echinoderms and chordates. Okay, so there is an evolutionary relationship between these three groups, and they have a common evolutionary line that begins from the Diplurula or Tornaria larva. So we can say that on the basis of embryological evidences, serological studies means blood plasma studies, blood protein studies, and biochemical studies, it can be said that hemichordates, they can be considered as a connecting links between the non-chordates and the chordates. So they are a kind of connecting link present phylogenetically or taxonomically between non-chordates and chordates, hemichordates. Okay, so this is all about the affinities of Balanoglossus with these groups.